Hey everybody, it's Josh at Walnut Ridge. This week I wanted to go over a safety recall that many of you may already may have seen or heard some people talking about at the campground. It affects a lot of units from Keystone, which is one of the main manufacturers that we sell here. So we have a lot of units that are affected by it as well, and we're going to get a very large influx of calls coming to take care of this recall, which, as you can guess, puts a little bit of strain on the service department, and it's frustrating for the customer because we're going to be so booked out trying to get these things done. So this particular recall, what happened is there's a chance that on the solar, which now comes standard on pretty much every Keystone product, this controller that is for the charge control coming from the panel to the battery, so that way you're not overcharging things, there's a possibility that these two sets of wires were put on there in reverse. So what you get from that, Danny to pull away here. So what the possibility could happen from those being wired backwards is the solar panel on a bright sunny day is going to put out way too much voltage into the system, where it should be hooked into the control side so that it can be monitored down or regulated down so that we're not overcharging the battery. And then the battery side has been hooked to the solar panel's been hooked to the battery side, and instead of where it needs to go to charge the battery, it's going inside the unit. So the potential is that we're putting too much voltage to things like your LP detector and your carbon monoxide detector, which could short those appliances or those safety features out, and then they wouldn't work. So now you have the potential for an unsafe environment in your camper. And for liability reasons, I'm sure, put it on there, you never know what's going to happen with electrical. If we have too much charge going somewhere, it could cause a fire. So yes, a safety concern. However, maybe not quite as big enough of a safety concern that they are going to allow the customer to actually do this inspection themselves. So this is not something you have to bring in for us to do it, but it is something that has to be done. So if you're not comfortable doing it, come see us. I have a PDF, just a printout of the file that gets mailed to the letter, and there's inspections or instructions on how to do the self-inspection on here. So you just go through these steps, and then there's some screenshots that you have to take with your smart device. So most people are going to do this with their phone. And then you have to take those screenshots, and then you have to email it to recall@keystonerv.com. We'll put a link to this in there so you can see that if you didn't get the letter yourself. But what I wanted to do now is kind of show you how easy it is to do this inspection and make sure that that your unit is wired correctly and ready to camp. Okay, here's another video to show you the solar recall for the Keystone products on the walkthrough to check the voltage and make sure it's wired right, and to know whether or not you have to take it in and have repairs done. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the Victron Connect app, and then it's going to look for the devices. We can see the device on here. We'll click on it. Now the default pin code on these is 6 zeros, which I've already paired this one to. If you've changed your pairing code for your Bluetooth on that, you may have to put in something different. So the first thing that's going to come up most of the time on these is that it needs a firmware update. If you haven't done this already, you can go ahead and hit update, and then we'll let that go. Okay, now we've updated the firmware. We're just going to press to continue. It's going to look for it again in here so we can reconnect. And we'll go back into that one again. Should already be paired. Now this is the screenshot that we're looking for. Oh, we have another update. We'll go ahead and do that update. When you're standing there doing this, you can see on the controller itself, there's some lights that'll be flashing on there to let you know that it's working to do the update. So if you don't see that, you may have issues. Okay, that update's finished. Now we'll hit continue.
Bring the device up. Now you won't normally have this many devices on yours just because we're here on the lot, so there's a lot of them around us. Go back into that unit. And now you can see on here what we're looking for. So the solar, I don't want to change the pin code. That's what that warning was on this one. We want to leave it factory for the customer to change. So you can see the solar panel, which is on this top section, is putting out 68 watts, which is where we need that to be. And if we go down here, the next step below that, you can see the voltage on here is 39 volts, and then the battery voltage 14.4. That's the numbers we're looking for. This one does not need anything done on a recall other than submitting the pictures. So for here, we would take a screenshot of this, and then the instructions tell you also to go into the settings, and then you want to hit battery, and then up here in this top right corner you can see the battery voltage is set to 12, and that is the proper setting for that. So we'll take a screenshot of that as well, and then all you need to do from there is email that to the factory at recall at keystonerv.com, and then there's some information you'll put in, and then you're good to go on your recall for your solar.
If it's wired correctly, if the voltage from the solar panel is the higher voltage, your battery is going to be most likely 12, maybe even a little bit over 12 if it's just been freshly charged, or below. Those two settings are correct. On this one, nothing needs to be done other than send in pictures to the factory showing that we did check it.
With solar, the battery can read up to a little over 14 volts.
Okay, so it could be up to 14. So make sure you have it out on a sunny day. It's difficult to do on a cloudy, rainy day. You're not going to get the charge coming through your solar panel to show the correct numbers when you do this recall. But if yours is good to go, make sure you take those screenshots, you email it to the factory, and that's all you have to do. Nothing to worry about, no safety issues in your trailer. If they are not correct, then you're going to need to call a dealership and make an appointment so we can make sure that for one, the charge controller is a good charge controller and that it gets wired properly, and then we can retest it from there. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it will help not have to stop your camping trips for this year for a minor recall. If you can do it on your own, that'll be great. Otherwise, give us a call and we'll schedule it in and get it taken care of for you. Thanks.